All right, Jason, it's July, so what does that mean?
Summer of sand, baby.
Hey buddy, Brian Franz here, Jason Cerrano, part 3 of our SAM experiment, I guess, huh? So part 1, Jason and I talking, part 2, hydrant operations with SAM. Part 3 is drafting, so we got a folding tank set up. Instead of having the truck drive up and all that kind of stuff, we got the crew in the truck. They're gonna get out, we're gonna simulate getting water flowing, drafting with the SAM system, right Jay? Yep. Which kind of changes the game a little bit as far as drafting, a whole lot easier with SAM ops.
Yeah, we talked about simplicity overall with SAM. It is the most simple drafting with SAM, the
Perfect.
biggest benefit. Yeah.
So again, we talked in part 1, we talked about paid fire departments versus volunteer fire departments, not versus, but kind of the difference between both of them. So whether you're a paid department or a volunteer department, the SAM features are huge.
Yes.
Huge. So one thing that's weird, you might notice our background. We put it tight up against over here, against the grass. We did that for a reason, to show that SAM has another screen on the passenger side. So no matter how you set it up, a lot of rural and volunteer settings, 1-lane driveway, right Jason? Yep. Gravel roads, trailers, campers, all those kind of features.
There's always a ditch on the side of that 1-lane driveway.
Always, even a normal side mount pumper, you're always on the wrong side, right? This gives the opportunity to show both. So we'll get these crews going and then just get a good look at this. So they're gonna get out, operator's gonna set the pump, he'll put it in pump,
yeah,
and they're gonna
drafting operations or hydrant operations. Again, once he puts that truck in pump gear, it's opening the tank to pump and recirculating water for the operator.
So one neat thing is our pump operator walks around to this side. You'd normally have that gigantic pump panel, right? This is it. Jason, talk a little bit about the second screen here and what features that would bring.
Yeah, so the second screen was actually the initial catalyst for me doing this. I was on a fire ground and you're always on, like you said, you're always on the wrong side. You can't see, you're in traffic, something's wrong. And there was one particular fire that just running in circles around the truck. And I'm like, if I could just get a screen on the other side of the truck, my life would be so much easier. And it's the same thing for this. If you're on a midship and you're drafting and the porta tank's on the other side, if you're just seeing your crew, being able to work with your crew and seeing them, every fire crew is so much better. So that's the whole point of the second screen.
So, and again, if you're on a single lane road, no matter where you may be, you got ease of operations and use.
Yeah, you can always pick the protected side.
And there is no set placement for that screen, right? So if you have a side mount pumper, if you have a rear mount pumper, which is what this one is, or engine, you can put the screen forward. The second screen, it can be anywhere. Yep. Anywhere on the truck.
Yeah, if you notice, like Kevin, this is a big thing, is the pump operator, all Kevin had to do was charge 2 lines, simply swipe 2 presets, and that charged both these lines at 2 different pressures. So he's not worried about pressure management or pressure dumping when he first gets things going. He's not worried about keeping the pump cool. Sam's taking care of all of that. So he's got his draft hooked up. So here's where we go to work. So he's gonna put it down.
This is really neat.
You're gonna drag it down into draft mode. There you go.
Doing at this moment. It's priming, right?
So he initiated the primer, so it told Sam to suck water up to the outside of the valve, and then now it senses water. The valve is still actually closed. So if you watch, it tells you it's open in the MIV. You're going to start to see negative suction once it finishes that draft, and we're done. So just like that, with 1 finger swipe from Kevin and stepping away, the truck managed everything. It didn't interrupt water flow. You didn't have any rough drafts. It's a great system for drafting. And a big complication for drafts, Brian, is when you teach people to draft, firefighters are going to relate to this. When you're learning to draft, or you've been drafting for a while, when you struggle to pull a draft, sometimes it was maybe your timing or a step you missed, right?
Sure.
But how many times do people think that's the case? So you get tunnel vision, you're working on the panel, and you're trying to pull a draft, and you think it's your fault, and then you try again. And then you try again.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. And then panic sets in.
Yeah. But the whole time you might have had an air leak. you didn't get the hose hooked correctly. It doesn't matter how good at drafting you are. If you haven't hooked up correctly, you have that issue. So we lose time on the fire ground that way. With Sam, it wasn't your fault, ever. So it's really great when we do training, and you can talk to anybody using Sam in drafting operations. If they swipe the bubble and Sam doesn't pull a smooth draft, what's wrong? Your connection. Every time.
Sure. Yep.
Every time. So you'll never get that repeat of a pump operator doing the same thing again and again, thinking they messed up.
Yep.
And then they don't get into that tunnel vision mode. They just go right to fixing the problem.
Now, so now let's talk a scenario here for just a second. Let's say we got volunteer fire company, right? And we got 2 people on the truck. We're in the middle of nowhere. We got 2 people. So that pump operator is doing more than just stand at the pump panel, which is what we want them to do. What happens if it loses its prime? What happens if we run out of water?
Yeah.
Drafting. Now what?
So running out of water in a porta tank sloshes, it's a little ugly, but let's just say somebody pulls it out, or you do run out all the way. First, it's going to try to reestablish. We draft hard, right? Like we want to get the water out of the tank.
Yeah.
But if you do lose your draft, it'll actually switch back to tank water for you.
Okay.
It actually does that on hydrant. We didn't show on the hydrant evolution, but if we were to shut the hydrant off, Sam actually closes your intake, opens your tank to pump, and reestablishes water flow. Actually, it almost doesn't lose water flow to the people on the hand lines. That's the other big thing with Sam, is it reacts to any issue you would have on the fire ground the way you would. It's just that we do it in milliseconds.
That's where I was going with it. It's kind of thinking one step ahead, right? If something happens, then I'm going to make sure this takes place. Now, if we lose that draft and we're flowing water, it switches back over to the tank. We're operating off the tank to pump. When I throw the hard suction back in, or whenever I fill the water tank back up, it doesn't self-pick it. You got to flip it back over to draft
the operator,
again, right?
Yeah, whether you lost a hydrant or you lost a draft. This is where I say we don't replace the operator. Like, that human being's making those tactical decisions. They just don't have to do all the basic steps.
Right. Yep. Right. So that's the features of it. So again, if you're a volunteer fire department, the benefits of this are huge, because it takes, we used to do a lot of top mount pumpers, right? And volunteer fire departments. That way they could be up and see everything. But you just don't have the manpower necessarily anymore, where this helps with that scenario.
Well, it's harder on the operators, so it's fun. When I go to a department with a top mount, there's trade-offs with that. You have to get up and down, especially in the wintertime. You're getting farther away from the fire ground. People complain about getting up and down on top mounts.
Sure.
However, they are really important. Why do you buy a top mount? Is it because you like a longer truck?
You're right. That's it. Less compartment space, longer truck? No. You want to see everything.
Visibility.
Yeah,
it is visibility.
That's right.
Right. And so Sam allows you to not have any of the trade-offs, gain all the automation, and have always be visible and always pump from a safe location.
We've told absolutely everybody we should never, the customer's always right, but you would never necessarily need a top mount engine with Sam.
There's no need. Top mounts.
There's no need. You're going to pick up more compartment space, shorten your wheelbase, all those kind of features. So let's talk about one more thing real quick. Why is this screen or this setup on the other side totally different than the main pump panel?
It's a good question. So if you notice, this is very basic. So this is just the SAM functionality over here. This is the automated side of things. And that's when we're running automation and we can be fast and efficient on the fire ground and everything's good, you can be over here. The other side has everything. So you actually have a traditional pressure governor on the other side. All of your controls that you would need to pump traditionally are actually all in one place on the traditional location for a pump panel. So if anything were to go wrong with the system, if you had to go into fail-safes or backups, you can pump very traditionally with this truck back at the home screen.
Yeah, go back to the original.
Yep, you'll have a pressure governor, you'll have valve controls on the screen. You can turn SAM off and teach people that we actually tell people in training, turn SAM off, teach people to pump traditionally, and then when you're at the fire ground, turn SAM on.
Yeah, and that's something that we didn't necessarily talk about, that we don't talk about much, but SAM is really just in addition to the normal electric valve components of a truck.
Correct.
Right? So many people get caught up on, I don't want all this technology, but then we go see somebody and they have all electric pump panel, they got a pressure governor, they have all the technology already there. All SAM is doing is tying all them together.
Correct.
Right? So it's all the same components, it's the same features, just a little bit cleaner.
Yeah, and that's why it's so easy to learn, is the water flow rules are the same, the plumbing is the same. If there's something wrong with water flow, the troubleshooting is the same. None of that has changed. You just don't have to pull levers and spin dials and re-gauges.
Yep. So in this scenario, if we were to close both of those bales, right? And if we're done, so Kevin can go ahead and close both the hand lines. And then Jay, will it keep going automatically and refill the booster tank all the way if it's not full?
Yeah, it will. So if this was still empty, actually it's still doing a little bit of filling, but it's this whole time we've been talking, it's been filling the tank for us.
It was, and I kind of noticed on the tank level indicator over here, as it was down to blue and then it went all the way back up, and we did nothing. Like, that's the other neat part. We did a lot. We're very important in this scenario.
Yeah, we
did
a lot,
nothing.
Yeah.
That's right.
But we did nothing.
That's right. So that was part 3 with drafting. That's all the SAM ops. Is there anything else we should talk about SAM-wise? I mean, it's really just that simple.
Brian.
Yeah, you could talk for days about SAM, that's right. But it's really just that simple and just that easy. So again, if you have comments, questions, thoughts, good or bad, we'll take it all, right? It's part of our business. But give us your thoughts, give us any questions. Jason lives here near Sentinel in the Midwest area, which is neat, so he'll be able to answer any questions you may have specific on SAM and SAM ops and other things you've seen.
We love doing demos. So, and all I can do is encourage people, like, I'm not going to tell you to buy it, but man, you got to learn about it.
Yeah, you can watch these videos all day long, but until you actually use it, it ain't going to get it. So anyway, really neat stuff on SAM. Stay tuned. We got one more part to this series. Part 4 is SAM Boost, which is, I don't know, the little brother or little sister to SAM?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
All right, so stay tuned for part 4 coming up here shortly.